All right, so here we are booted up into Batocera on my 4TB SSD. Now this entire collection has over 10,000 retro video games included on it from a wide range of different collections, which we're going to get into and take a closer look at in just a few moments. So when you land here into this SSD, you're likely going to come up to whatever collection you were in last. So if you played Nintendo Wii last, for example, that's going to be the first collection that populates in when you boot this up the next time that you boot up. So right now I'm highlighted on all games. So if I jump in here, this is going to be my master list. This is going to include every single game that's included on this SSD. And the really cool thing about this is we can hit select on our gamepad controller and we can go to this jump to feature right here. And let's say that we want to look up titles that begin with S. All we have to do is just go over to S, go ahead and select it, and we've jumped to that letter, and we can go through all of our different titles that start with S. So you can see here we have a bunch of different themes going on in the background. Each game is going to have its own little background. It's going to have its logo on the left-hand side as well as up above the video screen. We're going to have a video preview. We're going to have some box art down in the bottom left corner. We're going to have the name of the title, the studio or creator of the title. We're going to have a rating over there on the bottom right corner, and then of course a description. That's going to be the case for each of these titles. So again, scroll through, you can find all your games this way. So if you're looking for a specific game, but maybe you're not sure which collection it would be found in, this is a great option to go ahead and locate those games. So I'm going to back out. Now we also have a favorites list, so you can create a custom favorites list. So if you're constantly looking for a certain game and you want to be able to easily access it, you can go ahead and add it to your favorites list and then just jump in here and be able to get to it super easily. Now this is empty right here because it doesn't come with a favorites list put together. So if you wanted to do that, you could put that together and totally customize that collection. We have a last played collection too. So if I jump in here, you can see all the games that I've played recently. So this is a great convenient way to go in and, you know, if you finished up with a game for the day and you want to come back the next day, you can jump in here and easily access it that way. So we're going to close that out. So now we're going to get into our collections. We have a Thomas Wave here. And each one of these collections is going to appear a little bit differently. It's going to have a customized theme in the background for each of these. So you can see, though, same sort of setup, just a different appearance. We have the video preview for each of these titles, description, rating, box art at the bottom left corner, logo on the right-hand side. So you're not just picking from a text list, you're picking from the actual logo of the game, which is really cool. And now there is sound and there is background music as well on here. I just have everything muted right now, just so I'm not having to talk over all these different, things that would be interrupting me with the audio here. So if I enabled the audio, you'd have background music, which you could disable or enable. You would also have sound for this video preview right here as well. Just for the case of touring this build right now, I've just gone ahead and just muted everything. Here we have Capcom. We have different Capcom collections here. So if we jump in here, just a bonus little collection that I put together. You can disable some of these collections too. So if you find that there's just too many, like maybe Capcom's not necessary, because you're obviously going to find those games within your arcade collection. So if you're not looking for those, I kind of like having all these additional menu options here, but you can disable these. Same thing here, like this isn't a massive one, this only has 2 titles in it, but I do like having all these custom collections available. Same thing here, you're only going to have a handful of these, but personal preference there. I just think that for builds like this, it's cool to have all of your options available. Like Midway, obviously that's going to fall under MAME or arcade, but again, I really enjoy having it here because Midway was a collection that I really enjoyed quite a bit. So this is one of my favorite games right here, 2-on-2 Open Ice Challenge. But we have a whole bunch of different ones in here. Your Mortal Kombats are going to be found in here, Narc, Hang Time, NBA Jam, all that good stuff. So let's back out. We have Namco here, Naomi, and you can see here everything is custom tailored to the specific collection. So here you have a Naomi arcade cabinet. House of the Dead 2, that's a huge classic right there. Virtual NBA. I gotta jump into that one. I keep seeing that on here and haven't been in on that game in decades. Royal Rumble, which is always a good one for all the wrestling fans out there. So I'm gonna back out again. Here we have Neo Geo system. If we jump in here, you can see how this looks. Again, customized to a Neo Geo cabinet there. We'll go back. This is a Sega collection, just a custom collection with just Sega titles. So it's going to be a lot of like Sega Arcade, which you can see here from Alien 3. Another great game right there. And we'll continue on. SNK, Tecmo. These are all custom collections too, which you could hide if you didn't want them, because they're all obviously going to populate into this one, which is a much broader collection. This is MAME. This is where you're going to find all of your arcade classics. So 1942, 2-on-2 Open Ice Challenge, all these classics here. This Batman game is pretty awesome, must say. Just a lot of really amazing stuff in here, and I just love the way that it's set up, where it's just super polished and you have just everything just looking really crisp and professionally done here. So I'm going to back out of this collection. Here we have our classic Ataris, Atari 2600, 5200. I love the ET look here. Not that I love that game. I've done a episode of Forgotten Favorites on that game. It is super frustrating, but a classic nonetheless. So all this stuff, I love the way that we have that retro old school TV there. Just looks really cool. So I'm going to back out. We'll jump into 5200 here. A lot of great stuff. Doesn't that look like David Duchovny from Californication or X-Files? Atari 7800 here. Really nicely put together. I love the custom backgrounds for each of these. And then we have MSX1, MSX2 here. So we'll jump in here real quick, just so you get a feel for how they look. Aliens is a great game too. We missed this one, so just everything is slightly different with the theme for each individual collection, which I love. I love the fact that it's not the same thing over and over again, collection after collection. We'll jump into Xbox. Now, Xbox is a little bit newer, so we're not going to have every single thing scraped on here. So it looks like we have most things, but here you can find one where we just couldn't get all of the previews and logos and all that stuff, but the majority of these do. Now, not every single Xbox game is going to work flawlessly. Again, this is one of the more advanced collections to jump into emulation with, so you will find some titles that don't run well. Some of the burnouts just aren't great, but hopefully with updates in the future and stuff like that, maybe we'll be able to have full access to everything in the Xbox collection. For right now, it is a little bit limited. So we're going to back out of this one. TurboGrafx 16, nicely put together here as well. Some classic games in here. Afterburner 2 is one of my favorites for this collection. TurboGrafx CD here, nicely put together as well. And we'll go into Super Graphics now. All right, so Game & Watches here. I actually love this. Oops, where is it? This background here with Donkey Kong there. Really cool the way that that's put together. So this one looks just like the original Game & Watches. Love the way that this looks too. Nintendo Entertainment System, another great image here for the collection. Same deal though, but different. All right, and we'll jump into Family Computer Disk System. Good stuff here as well. All right, so Game Boy. Ton of Game Boys here. Love the way that this looks too. It's just so cool to see that on like the original background there that looks like an original Game Boy. Definitely takes me back. That was literally my first video game handheld. And now we'll jump into Super Nintendo. Love the controller visible there. It's a classic controller. Look how awesome the graphics were for this too, considering how old it was, or is. So there's a lot of great stuff here. So we will go back. So now we have N64, everybody's favorite. 007 to start us off. If we go off, we have some of those classic wrestling games here. Definitely check out my video on how to dive into this and soup up your graphics, because you can go in here on a custom emulator and be able to play these games totally redone, so they look like they're you know, much better quality than what they should be. So it just soups everything up and improves all the graphics and picture and overall performance. So lots of amazing games in this collection. One of my favorites right there, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. So we'll back out. Game Boy Color. For all the Pokemon fans, we have Pokemon right here. So we'll jump into this collection. Same as the other one, but obviously updated with the color graphics as well as the color console there. That was a, I had that game. That takes me back right there. Bugs Life. Just a lot of really great stuff. Nintendo Gamecube. Now this is a massive collection. I was a huge Gamecube fan, which definitely shows by the amount of games that are included on here. Love the way that this looks. One of the more advanced collections for this setup, but everything runs super well in here. This was my game growing up right here, WrestleMania 18. Day of Reckoning 2 and Day of Reckoning 1 as well, but tons of amazing games in here. And eventually I will put together a game list for this entire build, but it is a massive game list, obviously, with the 10,097 games to be exact, so it is time consuming. So here we have Game Boy Advance here, got that Zelda picture in the background. Love the way this looks as well. This was one of my favorite games too, Sonic Advance. Got some baseball here, just a massive collection here. So we'll back out again. Nintendo DS. This is a collection I really don't dive into a whole heck of a lot myself. It is a little bit harder with emulation, obviously, but a great selection nonetheless. For those of you that are really into this collection, you will have a blast diving into this. And this Batman game here is pretty cool too. I do remember that one. So let's back out here now. And Nintendo Wii. This is one of the collections that I dive into the most, in all honesty. This with the Dolphin sensor bar and Wii remotes, Wii nunchucks, pretty much any Wii attachment. I have the Wii Guitar Hero attachment too, which works on Rock Band and Guitar Hero. Everything original for Wii works on here, and it works 100% exactly like it would on the original console. So we'll scroll through here a little bit. I have a huge collection put together on here. I haven't dove into every single game yet, but this, again, is one of the collections that I dive into the most on here because it is just so amazing. And I'm constantly rediscovering games that I missed when this console came out all those years ago. This looks like a great game right here I'm not familiar with. Back to the Future is super popular. We have all your backyard classics. Some hunting games in here. There's a Big Buck Hunter Pro in here that's really cool. We have Batman. This, I believe, is the same as the DS one that we just saw in that collection. But yeah, just a ton. Here's the Big Buck Hunter Pro. I've done, I think, 2 different episodes here on Forgotten Favorites with this one. So this looks like a great game too. I love airplane games. I got to jump into this one. I got to remind myself. There's just so much to discover in here, and even if you were, you know, really big into gaming back when these collections first came out, there's no way that you could remember and have actually discovered all of these originally. So it's so much fun diving in here. We have all the Call of Duties, a bunch of racing games, got some of the Disney games here, just a ton of great stuff. This is an awesome game too. Cruisin', the later one, which kind of has that same original feel. Lots and lots of great stuff. Donkey Kong Country Returns, Donkey Kong Barrel Blast, Dragon Ball Z stuff, a bunch of sports games on here. Just an amazing collection. So we'll jump back out. Now here we have Open Bore, Beats of Rage. So this is going to be like some custom stuff, but for each of these, or not every single one, you can see there's a couple here that don't have scrapable content, but a lot of great stuff. This Bruce Lee game is one of my favorites. A lot of good stuff in here. And now this game right here is my favorite in this collection. This is Double Dragon Reloaded. So this has different wrestling characters that you can play in Double Dragon, which is really cool. We also have this one right here, but these are really cool because you could be Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Ultimate Warrior. So for the wrestling fan out there, these are just awesome. And this is a collection that I go into a whole lot. Got into this collection on RetroPie, but Batocera definitely has a lot more options in my opinion. So Infinity War, bunch of Marvel stuff, Mortal Kombat here, which is kind of a cool twist to it. You can see it's very different, but you know, it's like a side-to-side sort of game. We have this gory Mario called Never Ending Story, which is kind of intense but cool. You can see there's definitely some cool stuff to discover in here. Some Power Rangers stuff. So I'm going to back out. We have some ports here. We have the Doom port, which is super popular. And then we have Pi Game, which is kind of a cool little thing to discover in here. And that's pretty much it. You know, we have Master System, we have Genesis, all these classics. What else? We have Genesis 32X, but you get the feel for this. It's the same sort of deal, just, you know, looking a little bit different. Sega Saturn. This is huge for Batocera because this is something that you can't get into on RetroPie just because it just isn't able to be handled on there. On here, though, it works flawlessly. So a lot of great games to get into here for Sega Saturn. And with emulation, you're very limited with that. So it's cool to have access to everything here. What else do we have? We have Model 3, Sega Model 3, amazing collection here. Now, not everything works, and the ones that don't work I've left on here because I hope that somebody, some way, can figure out how to get them to work, but the majority of these do work. I haven't included the ones like Dirt Devils I haven't had any luck getting working, but I didn't include that in the number of games included on here, so I hope to figure that out someday, and when I do, I want to, you know, be able to share that with everybody because it's such a cool game. But a lot of great stuff, and this is the game right here that made me want to explore this collection. Star Wars Trilogy Arcade, absolutely amazing. One of my favorite, if not my absolute favorite game ever created for the arcade. Came out in 1998. I have a full video that walks through this game start to finish, so definitely check that out if you're into Star Wars. What else? Dreamcast. Huge collection here for Dreamcast. Really cool the way that this looks. What else? Just jump through here a little bit for you. You can see everything for this collection works phenomenally. Naomi, Neo Geo, PlayStation. We'll jump into PlayStation here. Amazing games. This game right here, super underrated. This one's pretty decent too. I don't know if I'd say underrated for the racing one, but a lot of great stuff. I love Alien Resurrection. Love the movie too. Just a lot of really amazing stuff in here. We have some light gun games, which you can get up and running too with the Mayflash Dolphin Bar and the Wii Remote. You could also get into it with some of the other light gun options out there, but I happen to like the Wii Remote and Dolphin Bar, which on Batocera works super well. It's not like RetroPie where it can be a little wonky at times. I find that on Batocera, the Mayflash Dolphin Bar and the Wii Remote as a light gun work incredibly well. So Backyard Soccer, Batman and Robin here, a bunch of Batman titles that were added. Blade is a classic. Legacy of Kain, just a lot of great stuff in here. So PlayStation 2 now. PlayStation 2 is another advanced collection, but everything for the most part works really nicely in here. Cool thing about this too is you can go in and customize the emulator to improve your performance, or if you have a game that's, you know, a little bit slower, you can customize it to better the performance, which is cool. A lot of great options in here. Call of Duty, Castlevania, Crash, Got some Def Jam, got some Matrix. This is a great Matrix game. Lot of amazing titles in here. All the Final Fantasies are here. Gauntlet, I gotta jump into this because I'm a huge Gauntlet fan, and I've never checked out Gauntlet. Seven Sorrows, God of War's in here. Just a lot of great stuff. Your Grand Theft Autos, Hitman, love Hitman. Indiana Jones, I'm a huge fan of Indiana Jones. Manhunt, Max Payne, Medal of Honor. It goes on and on. So I'm gonna back out. PlayStation 3, this is gonna be the final collection. This is a collection that is super advanced, so you don't have all of the scrapable content here, so we don't have video previews for everything, we don't have logos for everything, but we have the majority of them, or at least about 50% of them here, you can see. Not all of them, though, have previews. Some of them don't have logos, but do have previews, so you kind of have to go through there. But this is a collection that takes a lot of time to put together. This collection took as long as every single collection combined on this, in all honesty. So everything is custom configured to the maximum performance. Now, I can't say that every single game on here is going to work flawlessly. You do need to have a gaming PC to dive into PlayStation 3 titles, but I'm using an HP Pavilion gaming PC. I'll put a link in the description of this video to the exact gaming PC that I use, so you can see exactly what the specs are on there, whether you want to get that PC or you want to try to find something else that lines up with the performance of it. But you definitely need a gaming PC with sufficient cooling to jump into PlayStation 3. But all of these, even if they don't have video previews, the games work extremely well. And I have a bunch of video previews and full like gameplay videos here on the channel from this collection as well. So definitely poke around the channel a little bit. You're going to find a lot of content that was pulled directly from this 4TB SSD. But going back now, we're back to all games where we started. So that is literally an entire tour of the 4TB SSD for Batocera. This goes into recommended a gaming PC, but you could put it into a regular PC. You're just going to have some limitations as to what collections you can dive into. Gamecube, PlayStation 2, Xbox, and PS3 all are pretty advanced. Some of those you can get into on a regular PC, but for the majority of the titles within those collections, rather, you're going to want a gaming PC. So this includes over 10,097 games to be exact on this 4TB SSD. So if you guys have any questions or anything like that, feel free to hit me up in the comments section or reach out to me directly. Always happy to help you guys out. But that's going to do it today for this tour of the RetroPie Guy 4TB SSD for Batocera.